What's up guys, Peter here from Reviews on Anything. One of my favorite products that I use pretty much on a daily basis is this. Looks like a landmine, but it is actually a half-liter food thermos or food jug by Esbit. It's a stainless steel jug which works exactly like your thermos flask for your drink. Instead you put food in it though. Now this is been used and abused, as you can probably tell. It's taken quite a battering, scratches and dents everywhere. The protective sort of matte paint is coming off, but most importantly the rubber ring here on the inside is starting to let go and starting to be uncleanable. So it was time for me to upgrade and to get a new one, and I got this. This is the Rubytec Shira, as you can see, and it is well, obviously a different color. Serves the exact same purpose, but goes about its business slightly differently than the old Esbit one. So we're going to have a look at it and see if it is any good, and actually if it's any better than my old Esbit. Alright, so here we are with the Rubytec and the Esbit, both food thermos jugs. Now, I showed you already that the Esbit is pretty battered. You can see that the paint's coming off everywhere on the outside, which is not much of an issue in general. But the biggest problem is here on the inside, where the rubber is starting to fall off. See how easy it comes off? And as you can maybe tell by the color of the rubber, it's not all that lovely anymore. And that's really the weak point of this food thermos, because the rest is pretty much steel, except for the paint of course. So the rubber seal that makes sure that it's a vacuum inside and that everything is sealed in properly, especially the heat of the food that you're trying to keep warm, is the weak point. And when this goes, then you know it renders the whole thing useless pretty much. Now I'm sure you can get new rubbers, you know, fine. But I've had this for quite a while, so I thought it was time for a new one. So I upgraded to the Rubytec. Now this is how you get it. Nothing to see in terms of packaging. Just this little sort of collar around it, which tells us everything we need to know about the jug right away. Let's take it off and let's have a closer look. This is the Shira jug. The Shira is their line of insulating bottles. You can get these in drink form or liquid form or other as well. But obviously I need the food version. Now it's half a liter. It might not sound like much, but it is quite a lot. Imagine filling it up with half a liter of rice. That's half a kilo, let's put it that way. So there's quite a lot of food in here. And for me it's perfect because it fits one meal exactly pretty much. So half a liter really is all you need. You don't really need to carry more food around. Plus the thing is, as soon as you open it up, obviously all the heat of the food escapes. And once you're done eating, you know, it's not cold, but then it's not really worth it to put the lid back on and to you know, try to keep the rest of it warm, so you have two meals. So half a liter, yeah, perfect. Give you a bit more specs. It is 343 grams heavy, including the lid, 16 centimeters high, and there is an 8.5 centimeter wide mouth opening. It's made out of 18A stainless steel, and it will keep your food hot for 12 hours and cold for 24. Now those claims of 12 and 24, you have to take it with a grain of salt obviously, because it depends on how hot you put it in here, how tight you put the lid on, what the ambient temperatures is, and so on. But you can, you know, keep food in here comfortably warm and cold for about a day. So usually when I know I have a busy day ahead, I take a cold meal with me in some Tupperware, and I take a warm meal with me in one of these, or I take a full meal bag if I have a really long day, but generally 1 or 2 meals will do. And it's nice and compact, as you can see, compared to my hand. You just chuck this in your backpack or in your sports bag or whatever, and you have your meal with you. Now obviously, you know, since you put your food all in one container, it is gonna, you know, get mashed up a bit. So it's not very suitable if you have, you know, steak with a side of beans and some potatoes that you all want to keep intact. That's not gonna work. You have to think along the lines of soup, rice, mashed potatoes with meat, maybe some chili, maybe some pasta with something, that kind of stuff. Stuff that gets mashed together on your plate anyway, works best in here. Now, color-wise, I don't really care, to be honest. I think it's actually kind of nice, the orange contrasting with the black and the sort of bluish, grayish paint they put on. But for all I care, it's pink. This is the only color you can get it in actually. So, you know, you're stuck with that choice. Tour around the device itself. The bottom stays on, can't take that off. Then you have the body of the whole jug itself. The wide mouth opening with a screw cap, and as you can see the rubber is sealed, or not sealed, but is locked in here so the rubber doesn't come out, and the lid just screws on like so. Now the rubber, just like with the S-bit, serves obviously to seal the lid on properly and make sure no heat or cold escapes. And since this is a vacuum wall jug, so there's a vacuum between the inside and the outside, it means it can actually sort of live up to the promise of keeping your food hot and cold for 12 or 24 hours. Now because it's steel, it's very durable, so it won't bend or it won't crack or it won't do anything in your bag, you know, unless maybe you go rock climbing and you drop it in a canyon, but I suppose you don't do that. So it's actually, I like the overall sort of style and design of it. You put your food in, put the lid on, and you chuck it in your bag, so it's a bit of a fire and forget thing. There's no additional storage for a spoon or anything, so you'll have to carry your cutlery around separately, which could be an issue for some people, I suppose, because, you know, nothing sucks more than arriving hungry somewhere, opening this up and realizing you haven't taken your cutlery, so that is an issue. But for me, I always have cutlery with me, so that's fine. There are other brands that have like a spoon or a fork, foldable spoon or fork in the lid or in the bottom. So, you know, if that's something you want, look elsewhere. And what might be something for some people is that the S-bit, the lid of the S-bit can be used as a bowl. So for example, when you have soup, you can pour it in and use it as a bowl. And this one from Rubytec does not have that. It is really, this is all you get. The food goes in here and you eat it straight from here. So there's, yeah, nothing to see, nothing to do. That's all there is to it. Now cleaning is just as easy as eating out of it because of the wide opening. You can imagine with a normal thermos flask for liquids, the opening is much smaller, and they deliberately made this opening big, obviously, so you can, you know, dig around with your spoon or your fork and get all the food out. Cleaning couldn't be easier as well. There is hardly any ridges just here on the top of the inside where the orange plastic connects with the steel. There's a bit of a ridge, but that should be easily cleanable. And other than that, there's nothing too clean because it's all smooth stainless steel inside. Now it's of course all BPA free and food safe, so you can also put, for example, baby food in here. Really anything that you want to keep on the go is fine, and since you eat from this, obviously it better be food safe. It's a bit of a no-brainer, to be honest, but hey, nice that they include that on their packaging. All in all, I like this. It works as advertised. I wouldn't completely vouch for the 12 and 24 hours, but I don't really see why you want to keep your food warm or cold for that long anyway. But like I said, easily a full working day and you'll be fine with this. And it also depends a bit on how hot you put it in here. You can imagine if you put it in here lukewarm, it's not going to stay piping hot, obviously, since there's no any kind of external heating involved. I like it a lot. It serves my needs exactly. It does exactly what it needs to do for me. Style-wise, you know, that's always debatable, but I kind of like the design. It's nice and clean. Would have maybe even liked that it was a bit smoother because there's a bit of a lip here and a bit of a lip with the bottom. And as you can see, the S-bit was, you know, nice and smooth overall. Especially with the lid on, it was one smooth service. And the additional cup is supposedly nice for some people. I personally never used it, so for me it was fine to have one with just a lid. I like it a lot. It's not expensive, so this is definitely something, for example, when you go camping, tenting, hiking, nice to have with you, nice to throw in your backpack and have some warm or cold food with you at all times. This was Peter from Reviews on Anything with a look at the Rubytec Shira food container, half a liter. Thank you for watching, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll check you in the next one. Cheers!